place, and let me first display the assignments. Okay, so these are the assignment. Okay, these assignment I will give you today or probably tomorrow, so don't worry about it. Okay, so these are the assignment that we have to discuss, you know, in the last class. The first is write a program to generate table of any given. It's very easy. Okay, it's very easy, but I will show you all the, you know, all the logics for the same. And after that, write a program to find the number is even or odd. Okay, write a program to find the number is even or odd. Then the cleansing of data. Okay, in this context that I already told you, you have to you have to solve the this thing into the generalized solution, because here the user can enter this or user can enter this. I already explain you, watch my that video. So the last one is write a program to give a number is prime or not. That is most important. Okay, at the point of the interview, whenever you sit as a fresher level interview, this question is asked and number of time. Okay, and this is again important one at the point of the interview. So I'm going to start. So first, prior to start this assignment, I'll tell you one problem statement. Okay, I'll give you only 2 minutes to think about it. This one is my, the array. Okay, this one is my array. Let's suppose the list. Okay, so my final requirement is I need the output, that is the 60, sum of all the element. Okay, that is my requirement, that I have to sum all the, all these elements. So when I process this list, I will get the output, that is the 60. So I give you only 2 minutes to think about it, because this is very, very useful logic in n number of problem statement. Even I use this logic more than 10 to 20 times into the big data Hadoop as well, n number of time, and it will solve the, the very basics to, the very real time problem statements. I'll first give you the real time scenario where exactly it used. Now understand concept. This is the, I go to the online shopping website, and there I bought some products. Okay, this one is my first product, this one is my second product, this one is my third product. And finally, at the end of the day, whenever you go into the billing counter, you get the final bill, that is the 60 rupees. Let's suppose this product is rupees 10, next is rupees 20, and the last one is rupees 30. So at the end of the day, that you have to pay 60 rupees. Now this one is your cart. Just imagine it. Whatever item that you bought, that is placed into this list. And finally that you have to sum all the numbers. So this is your problem statement. I am giving you 2 to 3 minutes, and I will come back to at 4:10. Right now it's 4:08. I will come back to 4:10. You are supposed to think the solution for this. Then I will, after giving the solution of this, then I will go back to these problem statements. Okay.
Sorry sir, what was the problem?
Okay. So this one is a, this one is a, you can say the list, you can say, because here is not array. This one is the list, and what you have to do, sum of all the element of a list. Whatever elements are there, that doesn't matter. Let's suppose here are the 40, okay, so more items. Let's suppose the person buy the next product is the price of this and this and this. And then finally that you have to give the final bill. Okay, this one is your final bill. So you have to supposed to create the logic for the same. Okay, so time is 4:09. I'll come back to at after 10 minutes. Okay, just try to solve it. I'll get back to you within 10 minutes, please. So don't worry if you didn't do, don't worry about it. Okay, this one is the situation that I have to sum of all the, the value, whatever the value inside that particular list. I am taking a variable, that is s is equal to 0, initial variable. Okay, that's the starting value is 0. Now for I in range of, no need to implement this range, you simply iterate the, this list. And as we know, when we do the iteration with the list, inside I, the first item would be 10. Okay, then 20, then 30, then 3, 4, 5, 5, then 7, 8, 8, 8, then 4, 5, 5, then 7, 77, 8, 8, 8, and 78. Okay, but the question is that I have to sum all these numbers. Now if you observe carefully what exactly that I have to do, okay, just take it into the general life scenario. Don't take it into the programmatically way. What exactly that you have to do? Now if I give you this number of items, and I tell you you have to sum all these items, what you will do? You will take 10. Okay, after then you will add 10 plus 20. Okay, now you will write down on the paper that is the 30. Okay, again into the next iteration you will pick that 30 value. Inside that 30 you will add this 30. Okay, that will become 60. Now you will take your main value, that is the 60. Inside 60 again that you will add this number. Okay, after adding 60 and this number, whatever that number you are getting after adding 60 and this number that is visible on the screen, highlighted on the screen, you will add again this number into that number. So what exactly you are doing? Now if you observe carefully, you are holding the previous value, and inside the previous value you are adding the new value. That is the concept. Okay, into the analyze scenario, I never disclose over here the programmatically way. I just tell you simply mathematically, if you want to solve this, you will follow this approach. Now, same approach that you have to follow inside the programming languages as well. So here, okay, here, so how you store this value 10 plus 20, that you store this value inside your mind, or you have written somewhere on the paper. Okay, same thing, let's suppose you want to store this value anywhere inside the program. That's mean you are supposed to take the advantage of the variable. Okay, advantage of the variable. Now I define a variable and whose value is 0 initially. Okay, I just consider it's a container, and it's an empty container. Starting value is the 0. Now what exactly you have to do? Now you have to iterate it. Okay, now you are supposed to iterate it. You are supposed to hold this value one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. And after that, for temporary storing the value, okay, for example 10, then 10 plus 20, you added it, and temporarily that you are storing it into this s variable. Okay, same thing. Now how I can implement this thing? Now inside I, as we know, the first value is 10. Now what exactly you have to do? S is equal to s plus I. That's it. Very simple funda. Okay, very simple funda. Now what you did, understand carefully. Initial value of s is 0. 0 plus 10, how much value it's become? S become the 10. Okay, just simple same thing. You write down it into the paper. Okay, now s contain 10 only. Okay, in the next iteration, because this iteration is not completed, into the next iteration I value become 20. Okay, I value become 20. You perform the same scenario. Now what you are doing? In your previous value, s contain 10, and the next value inside I, that is 20, you add this value and again store into the s. Now s value become 30. Okay, now because this iteration is not completed, next I value become 30 and your s value is again 30. So what you are doing? 30 plus 30, now it's become 60. Okay, now it's again store into the s becomes 60. In the next iteration, the new value coming, I value change, that is 3455. Now what you did? S is equal to 60 plus I. 60 plus I mean 3455. Something like this. Okay, so this iteration will be happen until this value is not processed. After that, what you have to do? You have to simply just print off this S. Very simple funda. The same thing, whatever you did on the paper, I already told you, every problem come with the mathematics, and this is the real time use case, and number of times this problem statement is used whenever you are making a program for the shopping cart. Okay, retail data analytics, at that time these are the highly the useful logic. Okay, so just take a simple example. The first person come, okay, the person who bought the first product, that is rupees 10, again 20, 30, then the price of this one, 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 and finally you have to print your final bill. Okay, this one is your final bill that you are supposed to perform on the screen. So I think the picture is clear. Everyone is attempted very good. Now this, because this is the important one, I will use this logic and number of time in future assignments. Okay, so now back to these assignments. Now the first assignment, write a program to generate a table of any given number. That's very simple, and I suppose everyone attempted it, and I will not touch this assignment because I understand, because you attempt that problem, it clearly observe that you will guys easily implement this. Don't worry about it. If you didn't do, please try by your own. I will not touch this program. Okay, now write a program to find the even number from a list. Very simple concept, again very simple. Okay, so again I am taking this list. Now the problem statement is I have to find out the even numbers. Okay, first what I will do, okay, think it mathematically, think it with pen and paper. What you will do? You will first pick it out. Okay, you will first pick it out. Okay, first you pick out the 10. Now you perform the mathematics. Okay, now you perform the mathematics over 10. Now you have to specify it whether this number is even or odd, and this logic we already implemented into the previous assignment. Okay, same thing, whatever you did on the paper, exactly same thing we will perform over here. You pick out this 10, and after that you check it out. You know the logic to check it out whether this number is even or odd. If it is a even, if it is specify your criteria, that's mean you have to print on the screen. Okay, now again the next number, if again it fulfill your criteria, then you have to print on the screen. Again number, if it is even, that's mean it's fulfill your logic, then you are supposed to print on the screen. Okay, now I'm showing the logic for the same. For I in, okay, for I in, no need of range, okay, this time, but with the help of range, yes, you can perform it. I will show you both of the ways. Okay, if I,
Sir,
yeah please,
what I in?
I in L.
L is for?
L is this list which contain the elements.
Okay, we are directly.
Yeah, I will show you both of the ways. Don't worry about it. I will show you both of the ways. Okay, if this condition is true, then what you have to do? You have simply just print of this I. That's it. Now you are getting only even numbers throughout this, the entire list. Okay, so one another way, with the help of range or with the help of len method. So for the same, for I in range of, okay, I in range of len of, okay, len of this L. I am passing this L, len of this L. Then what I have to do? If okay, now L of I modulation of 2 double equals to 0, then print of L of I. That's it. That's it. Now you will get the same output. Choice is again your. Okay, sometime you have to perform this logic, as I already told you. Okay, sometime you can go with this logic. Choice is again your. Choice is again, and there are another alternate ways are there. Okay, you can perform the same thing with single line of code. Later on we will touch that point. Okay, later on we will touch that point. So don't worry about it. You can perform the same thing with single line of code. Okay, so for example, if I show you list of map of, okay, you don't know what is this map, what is, okay, list, okay, then with the help of lambda x colon x modulation of 2 double equals to 0, okay, and then you have to pass this L. So now you are getting the values which are true, okay, which are true one, which are, that's mean which fulfill this criteria, that are giving the true. Okay, rest of it become the false. You can same thing with the help of this, with the help of the single line of code. Later on we will touch this point, don't worry about it.
Sir, I thought len function gives you the length of the string.
Yes sir, yes sir. I think I discussed this thing on yesterday as well as in the previous video. I think you skip it. I think you skipped it.
Maybe, but
Okay, I'll explain you. Don't worry about it. I explain you. So because you didn't watch that my video. Okay, don't worry. So let's suppose this one is my list. Okay, and I want to calculate the length of this list. So indexing, make sure indexing always start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, indexing always start from 0. Keep this point into the mind. But whenever I perform the len method, okay, len is a method, not a method, len is a function which will give you the length of your iterable objects. Okay, when I press this, then output would be 5, and keep this point into the mind. Length always start calculating from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are getting the output, that is the 5. Okay, I think the picture is clear. Or should I repeat once again? Shashipal sir.
this is fine. This is fine.
Okay.
But this is why I was saying the len function gives the length. That's clear. But going back to the previous one, where you said for 1 in range len of 1.
This one. This one. Yes. So what exactly happening over here? Now understand this scenario. Here what I did, for I in range of len of L. Now what is the len of L? That is 5. That means this loop will be executed from 0 to 4. Okay, 0 to 4 means index of 0, index of 1, index of 2, index of 3, index of 4. And what I did,
I got it, sir. Thank you.
okay, perfect, good. So this one is our, the second problem. Okay, the third problem statement. Okay, everyone stuck over here. Don't worry about it. So my problem statement is this one. So let's suppose this one. Okay, X contain this. Now I already told you, whenever you are supposed to solve any problem, think the generalized solution of the everyone. Otherwise your code will not be the useful. That is not production ready code. Keep this point into the mind. So now what exactly meaning of the generalized code? The generalized code mean you are not going to the client machine for change the logic part. Okay, you are not supposed to go on the client machine for change the logic part. For example, I show you only this value. Okay, you just think about this value and start making the code. Now what we will do? Inside your program, you will definitely use this @ sign, because your the thinking is limited up to only this @ point. Now you will think the code according to only this @ sign. But what else can be happen? Okay, what else can be happen? The person can enter this one. Okay, again, now what you will do? Now what you will do? You will go again the client machine and change the logic for the same, because inside your logic you just define a logic only for this problem statement. But client can enter, the user can enter this value as well. So what you will do? You will go to the client machine and change the logic. Okay, you did it, don't worry. Again, the next time the user enter this one, now what you will do? Again, you will go to the client machine and change the logic. So whenever you are going to solve any problem, think always the generalized solution beyond 2 steps of the user. Okay, beyond 2 steps of the user. If the user is thinking, okay, he can also think like this, he can also think like this, then what you will do? You will go to the client machine and change all the logic. That is not, the good approach. So this one is my problem statement. Now question is, sir, why this problem statement is? This problem statement is the first phase of the, the machine learning step. If you want to establish your career into the machine learning, the first phase is data analytics. Okay, data analysis. Now in the machine learning, I already told you into that video, in machine learning, what the first step is? The first step that you have to collect the data, and then what is the next step? That you are supposed to clean that data. If you don't clean that data and you directly implement the logic over that data, your result would not be the fruitful. Okay, your model will not actually learn. So what I have to do? First, I have to clean the data. Okay, so now this is the cleaning processing. Okay, this is very first phase, but into the real-time projects, we rarely use this kind of things. Okay, but somewhere, yes, we have to use this kind of things. Now, why I use this diplomatic word? Because there is one, the NLTK library, Natural Language Toolkit. He do lots of your work. Okay, he do lots of your work. But sometime you are stuck with that NLTK, then what you will do? You have to design your own logic. Okay, now I am teaching you assignment. Okay, this assignment. First, I explain you why this assignment is necessary. Okay, now I am explaining you how we can solve this assignment. Observe carefully. So first thing is that I have to, this is my I am getting the data into this format. By mistake, user enter this, but the actual price is 102. Okay, $102, or you can consider euros. Okay, so actual price is this one, but by mistake, in the hurry, user enter this one. Okay, user enter this one. Okay, now when I perform the mathematical operation on this, let's suppose I am converting it into the integer. Okay, I am converting it into the integer. Now what is happening? Understand this point. Now you are getting the error message, because @ sign is not directly converted into the integer. Okay, so what else that you have to do? First, you have to clean this data, because this is not necessary, this is not required over here. By mistake it is happened. Okay, now if you clean this data, if your data is into this format, now you are supposed to convert this integer into this string into the integer, then automatically it is converted, because it doesn't contain any special characters. So how it is possible? Okay, so for that, what I am doing, I am making a empty string. Okay, first I am making a empty container. Okay, just understand it. I took a empty container. The C is equal to this one. Okay, C is equal to this one. Now this one is my string that I want to change. Okay, I want to change into which output? I want to change into this output. Okay, that is my string. So the people who don't know why I use hash is for commenting. Okay, when you are coming from the C++ background, there you use the double slashes, but here you use the hash. The hash means that if I don't want to implement this, okay, it is just for the commenting. It none of concern of your logic. Here we use the hash. Okay, in other programming language we use the double slashes. So now the picture is, I want to clean it. You have to clean it. For cleaning this data, now observe this scenario. very simple logic, for I in X. Okay, now if I print I, now what you will do? What you will do? Okay, what you will do? You are getting one by one each and everything. You are getting one by one each and everything. Okay, now leave this, the programming things over here. Now come back to pen and paper. Now you are getting this data. Okay, you have this data. What approach that you will follow? What approach you will follow? You will make a container. Okay, you will make a container just like a, okay, you took a container. Inside container, what you required, you will put it out. Okay, you will put it out. Whatever not required, you will never put that inside that container. So this is the approach. This is the normal approach. This is the normal approach. If you have sort of things and I want to filter out those things, and I am saying you, okay, put these filterized things into one particular, the envelope or into one particular the box, what you will do? You will do the same thing. You will process each and everything one by one. Whatever you required, you will put that into that container. Okay, rest of things you will place over there. So this is the same scenario. So I process one by one everything. Okay, I process one by one everything. Now which I required and which I don't required. These things I required. Okay, these things I required and these things I don't required. So how I can justify it? This is required, this is not required. Okay, just go back to your general English programming. Okay, English language. Okay, if it is required, then put it into the container, else don't do anything. The simple, the English for the same. Okay, I am giving you one by one item and you are the logic. Just imagine it. I gave you first time 1. Okay, I am this for loop. Okay, I am for loop. I am giving you this 1, and your logic is, okay, if it is in digits, okay, if it is in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yes sir, it is inside this. Now I am putting it into my container. Okay, in the next iteration I give you 0. Again you perform your logic. Yes sir, it is. Yes sir, it is in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes sir, it is inside that. Okay, I am putting it into my container. Okay, same thing. Now sir, this is 0. This at the rate sign. Okay, this at the rate sign. I am giving you this at the rate sign, and now you are saying, sir, oh no sir, this is not in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not required. So what you will do? You will not process that element. Okay, in the next iteration I will give you 2. Now you will again check, okay sir, yes, it is inside 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes sir, it's a digit. Now I am putting it into my container. The same thing that you have to implement over here. Just understand it. This for loop is I am giving you one by one each and everything, and you are the logic. And logic is that whatever value you required, you are putting that value inside a specific container. And container, we define this C is a container. Okay, this C is a container. So now I think the the layman term is clear, the conceptual is clear. Now see the implementation part. For the same, what exactly that you have to do? Now here you have to implement condition. What condition? If I in, okay, I in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means it's a digit. In operator, we know it very well. It will return true whenever that item is present into that set of items. Okay. So when this condition is true, now what you have to do? You have to put this value into this container. Now what you will do this mistake? Okay, you will do this mistake. Now you are putting this value. You are not concatenated. What you are doing? You are overwriting the previous value. But here the concept is not overwriting. You have to concatenate this value with the previous value. If I do this, what will be getting? You are getting at the end of the day only last value, because you overwrited the previous values. Now can anybody tell me what exactly I have to do over here? What logic that I have to implement over here?
You can use the logic of append.
No, append is not available with the string. That is only with the list. But here the string, the C is a string. Okay, anyone else? But logic, we just implemented. We just implemented above. Yeah, perfect. C is equal to C plus I. That's great. Now you will get the clean string. Now understand this scenario. Now you are getting the clean string. So I think the picture is clear. Now this is generalized logic. Okay, now X value I am changing. Okay, by mistake the user enter over here this one. Okay, user enter here over this one. Okay, this one. But you required only 1, 2 and 8. Okay, you required only 1, 2 and 8. Now whenever I perform this one, now you are getting only 1, 2 and 8. Now you are not supposed to go on the client machine and you have to work for these things, because you whenever you deploy your product, you automatically generalized it. So this is the concept of the generalized solution. Anyone having any question for till now, please ask me before proceed further. Please ask. Anyone? Okay, good. So now the next one is write a program to find a given number is prime or not. That is my problem statement. Very useful problem statement. Okay, and ask n number of time into the interview room. So now I am making a code over here. So I am asking from a user okay, enter any number. So I am asking from a user enter any number. Okay, so listen carefully. Okay, if you have doubt now, your doubts will clear today. Now first, when I say you, okay, you are supposed to tell me the prime number. Now first logic, what first logic came inside your mind? Because if you are going to solve the prime number logic, any problems, whatever that you want to solve, first you have to observe carefully the mathematically behind that problem. So here first you have to read carefully what the problem is asking. The problem is asking, you have to, the user will supply any number, and you on your part, on your end, that you have to tell whether the number is prime or not. So when I am focusing on the prime, if you have knowledge about the prime numbers, if you know about the prime numbers, then you are supposed to solve this problem statement. So first of all, that we know the prime numbers are those numbers who are divided by 1 and divided by itself. Okay, so for example 7, okay, for example 13, 11, 13, okay, 11, 13, 19, okay, and your 23 and so on. So these are the prime numbers. How I justify them? These are the prime numbers because these numbers are, these are the number which are divided by itself only and divided by 1 only, because whenever you divide any number with 1, that is perfectly divided, and whenever you divide the number with same number, then exactly that is divided and you are getting the remainder of 0. So first thing is clear, sir, those number which are divided by itself and divided by 1, those are the prime numbers. Their funda is clear. Now you guys understand it, perfectly understand it, what are the prime numbers. Okay, sir. So I am taking the 7 first. Okay, I am taking this 7 first. So now how I can define it, this is a prime number. So when I did this 7 modulation of 1 double equals to 0, the condition is true. The condition is true because I got the remainder 0. Because I got the remainder 0. So from where I have to start? From where I have to start? I have to start from 2. Okay, always you have to start from 2 and up to, and which number that you have to iterate from 2 to 6, that you are supposed to check 2 to 6. Okay, you are supposed to check, let me copy paste over here. You are supposed to check this number with 3 again, this number with 4 again, this number with 5 again, this number is 6 again. When you did this 7 with 7, the remainder you will get 0 and it will say, okay, this is not a prime number. Okay, so from where to where I have to execute, from where to where I have to perform this scenario? From 2 to number minus 1. Same in the case of 11. Same in the case of 11. If you want to check out whether the 11 is a prime or not, what exactly that you have to do? You have to check this 11 number to up to 10. Okay, up to 10. So if it never divided between these, okay, it never divided between these numbers, then finally I will decide it, okay, this one is a prime number. So in the case of 11, okay, in the case of 13, again that you have to iterate through 2 to 13, okay, 2 to 12, sorry. Okay, so if anywhere this condition is true, okay, if you observe carefully, this is the incremented, this is the starting from 2 and it is running up to number minus 1, that's mean it's a incremented. This is incremented. In the same case, it's incremented 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, in the case of 13, it will 2 to up to 12, okay, 2 to 19, okay. If I want to check out the 19, then 2 to 18. If you want to check out the 23, then 2 to 22. So this number is in increasing order. So whenever we know it, whenever we have to take these steps, okay, you have to go into this direction from 2 to number -1. So we know we are take the advantage of loops. So first thing is there, sir, we are supposed to use over here loop, which loop will be iterated from 2 to number -1. So this is one funda. That means the for loop is highly required. Okay, this first thing is clear. Now second mathematics behind that. The second mathematics is this modulus. Okay, this modulus. So that means you are supposed to use this modulus as well, because this is the modulus who will return you whether the remainder is 0 if anywhere, if I am just talking about English terminology, if anywhere the remainder gets 0, if anywhere the remainder gets 0, if anywhere the remainder gets 0. Why I am repeating this statement? Because in the English terminology I just speak like this: if anywhere I get the remainder 0, that means that number would not be a prime number. If so, that means you are supposed to take the help of if as well. Okay, now you observe carefully. Okay, you understand the problem statement, what exactly that you are supposed to do. That means you are taking the help of for, and then you are supposed to use if. Okay, then you are take the help of this. So these are the three mandatory things when you are supposed to solve this problem. Okay, but thing is that, sir, how we will implement these things into our logic? That is the main question. Okay, so first thing, if anywhere, okay, if anywhere this condition is true, if anywhere this condition is true, that's mean, let's suppose that this condition is true over here. Okay, just take a simple example just to understand it. Let's suppose, okay, this condition is true over here. Okay, so that's mean it's not a prime number. It can never be a prime number. If anytime, anywhere from 2 to number -1, anywhere I get, okay, if anywhere I get 0 remainder, that number can never be a prime number. So this is the one funda. If anyone I get throughout this iteration from 2 to number -1, anywhere this condition is true. Okay, now I am technically saying something technically. If this condition is true, that number can never be a prime number. So we understand this scenario. So first we have to iterate through this loop, and inside loop that you have to perform your logic. That logic is the if. Okay, if your logic is anywhere inside the condition true, okay, inside that for loop, if your if condition is anywhere true, that means that number can never be a prime number. But the thing is that how you will understand it, whether this condition was true or not. That is the main concern over here. Why you are getting again else and else and else? This is the reason. Okay, why you are getting the else output? Number is prime, number is not prime, number is prime, number is not prime, something like this. Many of you are getting the same output. Now the question is, because we are not able to understand it whether this condition was true or not true. Because why you are getting, now let me explain why you are getting that error. In the case of 15, okay, whenever you use 15, let me use this, you use this case 15. Okay, you use this case 15 when, okay, 15 modulation of 2 double equals to 0. No, its condition is not true. Now your program says okay, this is not a prime number. Okay, sorry, I'm repeating my words. If this condition is not true, this condition is not true. If this condition is not true, your else will be executed. It say it's a prime number. In the next iteration, what is happening? Now this condition is true. It's saying it's not a prime number. In the next iteration, this condition is again false. Again, it's saying it's not a prime number. In this condition, this is again divided, and this condition is true. And now this time it's saying it's not a prime number. So something like this. That's why you are getting the error, because you are not able to understand whether this condition was true or not true. Because you have to throughout all these iterations. Okay, you have to go through all these iterations, and how you can come to know whether this condition was true over here or true over here or true over here. Because in this case, in the first iteration, the condition is not true. 15 modulation of 2 double equals to 0, that is not true. And your logic is saying if this condition is not true, immediately print that number is a prime number. And the next iteration, when goes with 3, then it's divided with 15. Okay, 3 divided perfectly divided with, divided by 5, and you are getting the remainder 0, and it's saying it's a not a prime number. So this mismanagement is happening. Now I am coming back to this point. Okay, now observe carefully. Leave this concept over here. Okay, leave this concept here. Go to the layman terms. Okay, go to the normal scenarios. I give you one responsibility. Okay, I'll give you one responsibility. The responsibility is that you are supposed to tell me whether this room fan is run between 10 to 4 or not. That is your responsibility. Okay, now you guys are supposed to tell me what's your approach for the same. You are supposed to tell me whether this room fan is run between 10 to 4 p.m. or not. That's your problem statement. How you will come to know? How you will come to know? Okay, just give me one by one your observation, your solutions. I'm giving you one assignment that you are supposed to tell me whether this room fan was run between 10 to 4 p.m. or not. That's you have to tell me. If it is run only for a single time or for single second, that's mean it's run. Now how you will follow this approach? No, that's the thing now. If you, let's suppose the fan is running 10:15 to 10:20 and you are entering into the room at 11 and the fan was not running, and what your observation? Your observation is fan is not run. Okay, in the entire case the fan was not run. So you will treat it as like this. But in real time scenario, the fan was run between 10:15 to 10:20. But you are getting the wrong observation. Same thing happening over there. You are getting the same thing. Okay, input the even or prime, not prime, prime, not prime, prime, not prime, prime, not prime. That's why you are getting the same message, because you are not able to check it correctly whether this fan was running or not. Okay, the first solution. Okay, I'll give you few example for the same. The solution number 1, what you will do, you will continue watching this fan from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's not a good approach. That's not a good approach. Okay, this approach will work, but that's not an appropriate approach. You will sit inside the room and continuously staring on this fan between 10 to 4 p.m. and you are finally making the observation, okay, this fan was run or this fan was not run. That's not a good approach. Okay, approach number 2. Normally I'll give you the answer, whatever answer I'm getting from the students. Okay, approach number 2, sir, we will use the help of the CCTV camera. Then the question is again there. You will check randomly. You will check randomly. The question is same. You are come back to this point. Okay, at 11 a.m. you checked it out. The fan was closed, but exactly the scenario is the fan was run between 10:15 to 10:20. Again, you are making the wrong observation. You are making your final conclusion. Okay, the fan was not run. So what else that?
We can lace the on-off switch with something which gives me a healthy message whether this switch was.
Yes, perfectly. Now the final approach is the same thing we will use over here. Now the final approach is what we will do. We will check. Okay, now we are not going to check the this fan. What we will do, we will put a sensor or put a counter. Okay, just take a appropriate word, that is the counter. We will put a counter on the switchboard. Okay, whenever that switchboard is on, that counter value become 1, and whenever that counter value become 1, that means the fan was run. So our problem is sorted out. Now you are coming inside the room and what you are checking. Now this time you are not checking the phone. You are not checking this the fan. Now what you are checking? You are going through on that counter and you are checking the value of that counter. If the value of the counter is changed, that means that fan was run. I think this is the best approach for the same. You are take the help of a counter and you are putting a counter on the switchboard. Now you are coming inside the room and you are not checking about this time the fan. You are checking about on that counter. If that counter value, whatever value that you set in the entire process, and that value has been changed, then you will make the final conclusion. Okay, sir, this fan was run. That means this fan was run. So this one is the best solution for the same problem. Okay. So now I am coming back to the technical point. So first thing is that now how I come to know this condition is true or false with the help of if. Okay, with the help of if. Now if my condition is true, listen carefully, if my condition is true, the meaning of that is that number is divided with some number and I get the remainder 0. Okay, I get the remainder 0 and your counter value become 1. The initially, let's suppose you settle down the counter value 0. When this condition is true, okay, whenever the condition is true, then that counter value has been changed. Okay, now you come to know that person, okay, that condition is true entire the process or not. Now you exactly know it. How you know is it? With the help of that counter. Okay, after completion of all these steps, now what you are checking? You are not checking whether the number is divided with 0 or not. That is not our concern right now. Now we are checking, after completion of all these steps, you are checking whether my initial counter which I specify 0, okay, after 0, specify 0, after completion of all process, anywhere this value changes or not. If its value become 1, okay, after completion of, let's suppose, in the case of 15, okay, I am taking the first case. In the case of 15, initially I settle down my counter to the 0, okay, I settle down my counter to the 0, and after completion of all these process, similar like to this, okay, after completion of all these process, counter value become 1, because this condition is true over here. When this condition is true over here, then I am supposed to change the counter value to 0 to 1. Now after processing all these steps, what I am checking this counter value. If this counter value is changed, that means it's enter into that condition. If it is enter into that condition, that means that can never be a prime number. That is my funda. Okay, that is my funda. Now in the same case, okay, now I am taking this value over here. Okay, in this case, after completion of this entire process, now the value is not changed. Throughout the value is never change of this C. Okay, C value still remains 0. If the C value still remains 0, the meaning of that is it never enter into the if condition. If it is never enter into the if condition, it means it's a prime number. I think the conceptual view is clear or not. Now I am converting it into the logical manner. So everyone clear about this concept? Everyone clear about this concept or not? Okay, good. Now I am implementing this. Okay, now understand it. So I ask the value from user C is equal to 0. Now I am taking a loop, which loop will execute through for, very simple, for I in range of 2 to n. Okay, now I think this picture is clear. This loop will always execute start from 2 and run up to number. For example, this one. Let me, if you have any doubt, let me show you the practical for. Yes. Okay, I am taking n value 7 and for I in range of 2 to n. Now you will get the output. Okay, I am printing this I. Oh, what happening over here? Now you can check it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you are getting this output. Okay, so now the first terminology is clear. Okay, this loop will be iterate through the number -1 always, because inside Python, if other languages, then what you have to do inside for loop, that you are supposed to take n-1. Okay, but here always up to. I already explained this thing into the the for loop section. So the concept is clear for this time. Now if n modulation of I double equals to 0, then what I have to do? C is equal to 1. That's it. This is my logic only. Okay, this is my logic only. Now you can check it out. I value become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, whenever this condition is true, anywhere in the entire process this condition is true, then C value becomes 0 to 1. When C value becomes 0 to 1, that's mean it can never be a prime number. At the end of the scenario, now what I am checking that counter. I am entering into the room after completion of the time. Okay, I just take this example, 10 to 4 p.m. After completion of 10 to 4 p.m. at 10 after 4 I am entering into room, and now I am checking the counter. If counter is double equals to 0, that's mean it's a prime. Okay, it's a prime. Else print it's not a prime. That's it. This one is your logic. Okay, this one your logic. Now if I implemented it, please understand this output. Okay, now enter in number 7, now the prime. Okay, enter in number 11, now the prime. Enter in number 33, it's not prime. Okay, enter in number, okay, let me take small number. Okay, it's not a prime. Okay, now enter in number. Okay, it's not a prime. So understand this thing. Now the logic is perfectly work, but it's not a optimized logic. Okay, it's not a optimized logic. Why it's not a optimized logic? Now I will tell you why it's not a optimized logic, but it will work fine. The logic is absolutely right. Okay, so now I am taking this value. Now what is happening? Is it prime or not? It's not a prime. Okay, it's not a prime, because at the end of this value it is coming. That means it's not a prime. It will divide it by 2. Okay, it will divide it by 2 perfectly. Okay, now when I press enter, now you can check it out. It will never give me the output. It will, at the end of the day, it will say memory out of range error. Why so? Okay, why so? Because understand this concept. Here in the first iteration I come to know, this number is not a prime number, but according to my logic, what is happening? This loop is running from 2 to number minus 1. That means this much amount of iteration are running unnecessarily, but you come to know into the first iteration this number is not a prime number, but unnecessarily you are running your program is still running, but in the first iteration you come to know. Okay, in the first iteration that you come to know this number is not a prime number, but unnecessarily, because your logic is saying, because you define your logic in some that way, this problem, this execution is this number minus 1. So how I can control this thing? Yes, whenever this number is divided over here, okay, immediately I have to stop the process. To running bike, if you want to stop it, what terminology I use over there? Break. Perfectly. Here again the terminology is called break. Whenever my this condition is true, immediately break it, because it doesn't matter with the next number it is dividing or not, but whenever it's divided, that means that number can never be a prime number. Now I am showing you the output for the same. I will take the same value. Now you are getting the output within a second. It's not a prime. So this is the optimized solution. Okay, this one is the optimized solution. Okay, I think the picture is clear.
Sir, can you explain once for break?
Okay, break. The meaning of the break is, what exactly English meaning of break? To stop. Immediately you have to stop. Okay, let's suppose you are running on a bike and immediately you want to stop it. That means you have to take the help of the brakes. Same concept over here. When your loop is running, but at some point prior to complete it, okay, at any of the point that you want to break, then you are supposed to take the help of this break. And I am specifying when this condition is true. Whenever this condition is true, immediately I have to break that loop, because in the next iteration that is not useful for us, because we already know it. With the 2 that number is divided perfectly. When this number is divided perfectly, then why should I go with 3? Why should I waste my resources? Because in the first iteration I come to know. Okay, for example, this scenario. Okay, this scenario. In the previous code, what is happening? Okay, so let me explain you. I think you have doubt for the same. In the previous case, what exactly happening? Let's suppose the number is 15. Okay, the number is 15. So the first iteration, n modulation of 2 double equals to 0. Okay, this condition is not fulfilled. Okay, n double 3 is equal to 0. Yes, now this time it's perfectly divided. But in the previous code, what exactly happening? It is again checking with 4. Then what is the use to check with 4? What is the use we check with 5? Okay, what is you check with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? What is the use of that? Because here I come to know that number can never be a prime number, because this condition is automatically satisfied. So what I have to do? Immediately I have to break over here. Whenever this condition is true, immediately break the scenario. No, don't need to go into the next iteration. That is totally waste of resources. Okay. So, oh sorry, this one is MySQL. Okay. So same thing I implemented over here. Okay, same thing I implemented over. Now I show you the example of the optimized code. This one is the optimized code. Okay, there is one more thing inside Python, and that thing is available only with Python. Nothing any other language give you that feature. Inside Python, you can use this else with for. Okay, inside Python, you can use this else with for. Yes, this feature is available only inside Python. Inside Python, you can use else with if else. Okay, you can use else with for. You can use else with while. You can use else with the try and except statement. Okay, so these are the ways where you can use this else. But inside Python only, none of other language will give you this feature. Okay, so the question is, sir, when this else will be executed in this case? So very simple funda, except if and else. Okay, except if and else. Whenever you use else with while, try and for. Okay, whenever you use this else with try, for and while, later on we will understand the try and except statements as well. So whenever you use this else with any of iteration, for example while, for and try statement, statement, at that time the else will be executed if and only if, repeating, listen carefully, else will executed if and only if this loop is successfully executed. If this loop is successfully executed, the successfully execution mean in this loop. Okay, in this loop the break is not happened. The break is not happened. Okay, I am repeating once again, else will executed at that time when this break will not executed. And in what case break will not executed? When the number is prime. Okay, when the number is prime. I am showing you the entire scenario. Okay, when this condition, when this for loop successfully executed, this for loop is successfully executed only and only if when the break is not executed. Okay, when this break is not executed, that means this for loop executed entirely. When this for loop is executed successfully without implementation of break, at that time your else will be executed. For in this problem statement, your break will not happen when the number is prime. When the number is prime, that means all the the iteration successfully done. When all the iteration successfully done, at that time your else will be printed on the screen. So I think the picture is clear. So let me show you the same now this time. Okay, now this time. Okay, now this time. Let's suppose 12. Now this time you won't get any output because this time the 4 is not executed successfully. So this is the one case that I have to tell you. You can use 4 because many of the people who don't know, that you can use inside Python the else with for, else with the if, else with try and else with while. Okay, so I'll show you the use case, and sometime okay, this would be useful in one of our application. We will use this concept. So I think the picture is clear, everyone. All the assignment I show you in great detail. So any question that you want to ask, you can ask me.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
This prime number.
Yeah, please.
Like you use the counter C equal to 0. Without counter will not work like, because I did without counter it's working. C equal to 0 and you just rotate this rotation C equal to 1 again. If we don't use this one,
I don't. Okay, I am not using this one.
like using
Nee.
counter C equal to 0.
No, in this case, in this case it will work fine. In this case it will work fine. But in this case it will work fine. Here it will work fine. Okay. Because what about other? Let's suppose 8. So how you will manage it? How you come to know whether this condition is successfully or not?
So if you not use C equal to 0 after the integer, so the only condition for I when number divisible by 2 and equal to 0. So it goes like, okay,
because sometime I already told you the previous scenario how you can come to know whether this condition was successfully run or not. Otherwise, what you have to do? Some people are doing over here else. Okay, else. So you can use over here else. Okay, prime. So you can use something like this. So now the situation would be, handled. So you can use this. So here no need of this counter. Now it will work fine. No, I think it will not work fine. Let me check it. No, it will not work fine, because what is happening over here, it's breaking down. So here, except of using break over here, what I can use break over here, but here you have to supply something, otherwise it will, yeah, you have to write something, otherwise it will give you the error. So now I think it will work fine. Now it's working fine, but here you have to write something. For that, what I can do, okay, let me show you. You can use this pass. Okay, you can use this pass. Mean that just pass it out, nothing to do. Okay, pass mean that mean you the break continue and pass. Okay, continue I will touch that later on. Pass mean, okay, because I already told you, whenever you enter these columns, okay, it's mean in the next line it is looking for the tab indentation, and next line you cannot never be empty. Okay, let's suppose I leave the empty. Now it will give you the error message, invalid syntax. Okay, unexpected indented block. Okay, so make sure whenever you use this if, for, while, whenever you use these columns, okay, after the statement, not in between the statement, after the statement, it is mandatory that you have to maintain the tab indentation as well, and it is mandatory that you have to write something. Okay, so
can we not put the print and empty string inside
like this, print, yeah, you can print it, but okay, but now you can check it out. There is unnecessary spaces coming out, but client don't want this space. Then how you will handle it? Okay, client doesn't want this space, so understand it. So another statement is, the statement is pass. The pass mean, okay, it is again used whenever we define the interfaces or abstract methods. At that time it's very useful. Okay, so pass is basically just pass it out. Okay, just pass it out. That's mean the ball is in my cow. Okay, ball is in my hand. I am just passing it to the next one. The meaning of pass is this one. Okay, so here you can use pass. That is again the transfer statement. Pass mean no, don't do to anything, just move to the next one. That's it. Don't do anything, just move to the next one. So same over here. Now it will work fine in the case of this one. Okay, in the both of the cases it will work fine. So now again it's not working. Why it's not working? No, it will not work, because if and else it will not work.
I think Winchester was trying to say
Mm-hmm.
that at the beginning of the program you said C equal to 0.
Yeah, I didn't use that thing.
Okay, you just okay, you just start it. Okay. I go to your point. So C is you just use this. Simply use this.
No, I didn't use anywhere C. I just used.
Okay, just send me the code. I will check your code and let you know. Okay, send me the code. I will check and let you know. Okay, yeah, yes, this can also work. Yes, this can also work. You use this. Yes, it can work fine. Yes, perfectly fine. Not prime. Okay, you just print it over here, and after that you put the break. That's mean no need to move anywhere else. You can, yes, it will work fine. It's also work fine. And let's suppose prime. That's it. Yes, it will work fine. Or even you can use this else with it. It will work again fine. Okay. There are n number of ways to solve the same problem. Now it's work fine. Okay. Yes, because the first code I didn't start with break. Okay, that is again one scenario. This is the another scenario. Good, it can also work fine. So anyone having any question till now? Okay, so okay, the next topic is nested for. We will discuss it tomorrow. What do you say? Are you able to understand it, or we should do it tomorrow? Because yeah, all program do by your own. The recording will be available to